Hey, what is up guys, my name is Griefdrums and today we have just had the Operation Blood Orchid patch notes drop for us and there is so much to go through, so stick around and we're going to go through everything in just a few minutes. Okay, so as I just said, the Operation Blood Orchid patch notes have just dropped, and oh my god, there is so much to them. This is insane. There are so many changes, there are so many fixes, and there's some really big news coming up. So we're just going to go straight into it. Because there is so much, I'm going to try my hardest not to cover every single minor detail. We would be here for hours, days even. So I'm going to gloss over a few bits and bobs. But we'll get to the nitty gritty in just a few seconds. So, firstly, Ying and Legion are the two new operators. We pretty much know what their gadgets do. We know all the information about it. I'm not going to go over it too much because all of this stuff leaked already. One interesting thing to note, though, is the fact that her gadgets are a claymore and smoke grenade, either one of those. During Gamescom, you may have seen footage at the Pro Leagues and all of the leaks and the, all that kind of stuff. She actually had breaching charges, so the fact that she's got claymores and smoke grenades I find a little bit strange. They've clearly changed it at the last minute, but nevertheless, it's going to be interesting to use these operators. We obviously get Theme Park as well, and a load of cool new Blood Orchid weapon skins, look really nice. Ella, she has got a really cool little profile. I would recommend going and checking this out on the patch notes. It breaks down all of her history, and there's a really cool little backstory, all about her youth, her growing up and all that kind of stuff. And it's cool to see that they've taken the time to do this and to create this kind of level of a character. While we are on the topic of Ella, if anyone wants to make me an Ultra HD wallpaper for an ultra wide screen of Ella, I would really appreciate that. I think this operator looks insanely cool. This image, I've been trying to get hold of it, but I just can't seem to download it properly. So certainly not for ultra widescreen. So if you can get that, please, I would really appreciate it. We do get a nice little look at her gadgets, the guns and stuff we already knew. The Scorpion looks like it's going to be a really cool gun, so I'm looking forward to using that. Now we get to the nitty gritty, the health program itself. Now Operation Health has just ended, and this is where we see all the fixes. New upgraded servers are coming with the launch of Season 3, so we are getting them on September 5th. I cannot wait to utilise these, and I hope to God they're as good as we were hoping. The next big thing is the before and after lighting that we got to see not so long ago in a dev blog, and this is going to make it easier for defenders to look outside and for attackers to look in, and this has all kind of been made possible by this. This is the sky model update for the clouds and how that works. That's improved all of the lighting. The next thing it talks about is the BDRF update. Now this is bidirectional reflectance distribution function. That is an absolute mouthful. Basically, the reflections are going to be better. So it might be interesting to see if we can spot people as they're coming around a corner through the reflections. You already can with certain shadows if you've got them turned up high enough. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. The maps themselves, we know, are going to start looking a little bit better. They're doing a data cleanup, starting with Cafe. Again, this was a dev blog, so I'm not going to kick the arse out of it. The operators are getting a look at, and they're going to be improved in the quality of the way they look. Instead of a Valkyrie that looks like she wants to eat you, we're actually going to get someone who looks a little bit more feminine. But the more important stuff are things like Hibana's gadget. Now that has supposedly been fixed. They have repaired all of that. It does say in there they've meticulously gone over the scenarios in which they saw outlying issues occurring, such as pellet placement and visual errors, and they've corrected those, as well as all of the host issues they were having. Now the next biggest thing is the hit registration and high ping. Now, whilst we're not getting any changes immediately, they are going to be testing fixes and improvements to address all of this over the next season. Funnily enough, I thought that was what Op Health was for, but apparently not. They are currently testing something called latency alignment, which will make 1v1 encounters feel more consistent. In a nutshell, it says here that they're looking to further favour players with more stable connections. So if you're jumping across to someone else's server, or if your ping is awful, it's going to impact negatively on you, and I really am looking forward to this because it's been abused so much just lately. I fully appreciate that there's people out there that live places where there's either no service or you live in the arse end of the Antarctic and you really struggle to get a decent connection, but there are so many people that are server hopping intentionally just to increase the advantage that they get, and I really find that frustrating. I can't go into a game without competing against people with 150 ping, and if I'm running on 39, that really does add up to quite a lot of difference, especially when I'm getting shot by someone who I'm stood behind. That drives me up the friggin' wall. So I really will be glad to see this sort of thing addressed. Now again, I'll apologise for skipping through all of this really quickly, but there is still so much more to get through. So the next big thing is the smoke grenade and bolt animations. The smoke, the way it replicates from your screen to someone else's screen, is going to be fixed, and it should replicate really well from your screen to someone else's screen. No more standing in a thick cloud of smoke and you think that you're hidden and the defenders can see you really, really clearly through that. Hopefully. The devs did get some pro players out to the Montreal studio, and they did test them, and they said they were so good that they're actually overpowered. So what they've done is they've dropped the number of smoke grenades that you get from 3 down to 2 on each operator. For the immediate future as well, Capital's bolts are actually going to be grey instead of blue, but that doesn't make a massive amount of difference. Now for the big one. Jaeger and Bandit are losing their ACOGS. If you were one of the people that gave me shit in my last few videos, this is just a nice big fuck you. I'm so fresh, you can suck my ass. That's a joke, by the way, don't go crying. But anyway, more to the point, 2 or 3 speed defenders will no longer get ACOGs. That is just too strong apparently, because they can spawn peek and then move and reappear at another window really quickly, and they just thought this was too strong. I personally don't agree with that, but you know, each to their own. The devs know how the game stats work out, so if that's what they believe, then so be it. They did specify that they don't want to discourage this spawn peeking as the attackers are moving towards the building. However, they don't want the 3 speeds doing it. They want it to be a lot more high risk, high reward, essentially. There are some big changes coming to the weapon's fall off damage. Apparently that wasn't clear enough as to where it starts, you know, falling off. So they've changed pretty much all of the rifles on that. Ammo. A lot more operators are getting a lot more ammo. The 417 Jaeger's gun is getting 4 more clips. So start pre-firing even more than you already did. A nice one for attackers is the fact that you can now deploy your second drone and it won't destroy your first one. However, they are closely monitoring this, as that means the attackers could have up to 10 cameras dotted around at any one time, which is crazy. As most of you know, there is a shield exploit on Canal in which you can get up onto the window frames and look out. You can actually do this on several maps, but they've specifically fixed the Canal spawn exploit so that you can't do it from the server room looking out onto the spawns. They've also changed first-person cameras, shooting feedback is more accurate, the debris wasn't being replicated properly, and that debris should no longer block the deployment of gadgets. But another huge change coming is the defender vision. You know when you go outside and you get that yellow screen? That is now gone. You still get the notification, the little red writing, and that is deemed as dangerous enough. That's showing you that you're in a dangerous area. But the yellow screen that makes it difficult to spot the attackers has now been completely removed, so expect a lot more runouts. You know when you jump onto a camera and someone's AFK and they're looking the wrong direction, you want to turn it? If you're alive and you jump onto that camera, you get priority on any observation tool, so you can control it over the person that's already on it. Crosshairs now don't turn red on enemies, which was an accidental thing. That would sometimes tell you that someone was there if you're shooting through a little hole in the wall. That's now gone. And the enemy ID only triggers on successful scans. So you know when you drone in the beginning and you see someone and it replicates their logo at the very top of the screen and says, yeah, you spotted Valkyrie and Doc. You don't get that anymore unless you scan them on the drone. This is down to the fact that you wouldn't physically see someone, but you could just sort of make them out through a wall and it would tell you exactly who they were. So they've got rid of that. Barbed Wire is also receiving a nerf. It will take 1 less hit to take it out, and you will actually move through it a little bit faster. It's gone from 50% speed to 45%, so it's going to be interesting to see how much of a change that actually makes. Jackal's gadget is going to ping people more frequently. It's going to do it every 5 seconds instead of every 10, and you're going to get 5 of them instead of 4. Fuse's cluster charges are no longer going to bounce all over the room, hopefully. They're going to be more predictable. There's going to be no more crosshairs hit when you hit Blackbeard's shield. The drones can look up further. Glaz's blood splatters are more correctly displayed. I mean, the changes in this patch are huge, and it's going to be a really, really strange season to try and get used to all of these changes. But one thing that I know is going to make a mate of mine, Base, happy is the fact that he mains Sledge, and Sledge's hammer has been broken for the longest time. You'd break through like one side of the wall and not the other. It's apparently now more consistent, especially on windows while rappelling. Other than this, there are, as you can see, a ridiculous amount of fixes, and I'm not going through every single one. We're at like nearly 10 minutes of this video already, and I have glossed over so much stuff. I cannot recommend enough that you go to the website and have a really, really good read through all of this stuff. I mean, certainly all of this stuff, shotguns clipping through uniforms, the texture of Caveira's hat has a small white spot on the back. They're minor fixes, but the bigger stuff is going to impact the game in a massive way. The reduction of barbed wire, it was seen to be too powerful in the pro leagues and almost a must-pick item, and therefore you have to pick certain attackers. And because of that, they're nerfing it. That may have a real big impact on the game, especially coupled with the fact that, you know, you're speeding up barbed wire, but you're also slowing people down with mines. So this meta for this season is going to be completely different. There is a lot of changes, and as a result, there's a lot of stuff to almost relearn about the game. People are going to have habits that they're going to have to get out of. You know, going back to your first drone and moving it, you're not going to have to do that anymore, so you can put your second one out. But it's all things that people are going to have to get used to. If you're playing Jackal, you're going to have more of an advantage in tracking people now because you couldn't really before. So I'm really interested to see exactly how this plays out. Hopefully tomorrow I'm going to get access to the technical test server and I will get as much footage and testing of stuff as you could possibly imagine. And I'll let you know exactly what it's like before it comes out officially on September the 5th. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think is good? What do you think is bad? Are you surprised at the Jaeger ACOG removal? Are you one of the people that was adamantly giving people abuse saying this is fake, you're talking out your ass? Or did you already see this coming? And if so, are you happy with it? Are you angry with it? What do you think of the barbed wire changes? Are you pleased that the servers are here? Do you think they're going to make any difference at all? Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, even if it was glossed over quite a bit, please consider hitting that thumbs up. And if you don't already, make sure to subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter or Facebook to stay up to date with all of the latest information and my thoughts on things. But until next time, guys, stay reckless and relentless.